Okay, from the millennials to people close to or certainly approaching retirement, getting ready for it. More business backlash over new White House rules as the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is now leading a lawsuit against new retirement advice rules. The Chamber's David Hirschmann is with us on why. We talked about this, David, on the program earlier in the week, so thanks for joining us today. Get a little in the weeds if you start. The bottom line is there are new rules which, financial advisors are giving you advice on your IRA and retirement accounts. There's new requirements. They have to operate in someone's quote-unquote best interests, as opposed to, in the past, it was suitable guidance. If you're not into this, it sounds crazy, but your point is what? That it's overreach? It would make things more difficult? Or?
Well, nobody argues with putting customers first,
right?
Whether you call it best interest or whatever. The challenge here is the Department of Labor, which is not an expert financial regulator, has created a Rube Goldberg regulation that actually makes everything worse. It makes it harder for people to get the choices they need, to get the advice they need. It's going to make it more expensive to invest. It's going to leave people who don't have access to the advice in the dark. And it's going to exacerbate what is already a savings crisis. And in our case, make it particularly harder for small businesses to be able to provide retirement plans for their employees.
More red tape and more things to work through, or as you say, maybe even making things worse, not better. Is there a problem here? That's what I was trying to get at earlier in the week when we talked about it. Are we just looking for a solution where there's no problem, or are we just going about it the wrong way? I mean, what's your view on that?
Well, the intention is that the Department of Labor had was to make it, to create a more uniform standard across the board. But unfortunately, the Department of Labor only has regulatory authority over 401ks, not over the rest of the retirement plans, certainly not over other investment accounts. So what they've tried to do here is overreach and at least kind of grab through this rule other retirement accounts, but it still leaves in place two different systems, those outside the retirement system and those within the retirement system.
So how could
from an investor standpoint, it makes it more confusing.
Okay, so for a regular person's watching and they have retirement accounts, as you say, and it's not a 401k, so they have an IRA or some other type of retirement account, how would this change their life if this goes through? What are you trying to prevent exactly?
Well, what it would lead to is a system where they are much more likely to pay higher fees, either to migrate to a fee-based account, or otherwise all the compliance costs for this will be passed along to them. They're going to have fewer choices, and what people are going to do is there's going to be some accounts, whether it's small business accounts or small saver accounts, that just aren't economical for broker-dealers to serve anymore, particularly with human advice. So those people will be left out in the dark completely. That's in a world where today only 17% of small businesses can afford to provide their employees with a retirement plan. We need to make it easier, not harder, for people to save for the future.
Good explanation. So higher fees, fewer choices. Obviously, neither would be good, and people would identify with both of those. Thank you, sir. David Hirschmann from the Chamber.